session is we'll be writing a trigger on a user object as soon as if I change my first name and last name. If it is like a customer or a partner user, then the related contact should get updated when I update my username or first name and last name in my user object. Clear? So to do that, first let me open my arc, sfdx, open default arc. You don't need to really sign in every time. You can use this command open default arc. It will open your organization in the browser, on your default browser. Let it get open. Meanwhile, what I'll do, I'll create a trigger sfdx, create apex trigger on user trigger, my name, and I'll be saving in the user trigger details. S object is user. And when we need to do, we don't want to do in a before insert or after insert because the contact, whatever you are doing, it will be like a after update, right? After update. And remember one thing, in user object, you do not have a permission to delete. Once the user is created, you can able to deactivate, but you cannot able to delete user in the Salesforce. Clear? So today, what we'll be doing, we'll be creating another Apex class, sfdx, create Apex class, and say user trigger.cls file. So this is my trigger, and here what I will be doing, public void static void main, static void trigger, otherwise I'll just say that flow. Here what I'll be doing, interesting is that list of list of user, otherwise I'll say map of id comma user, new map comma map of id comma user, old map comma, we have a concept called system dot trigger operation. We have a concept called system dot trigger option. There is a variable available called system dot trigger operation. Event. This trigger dot event type contains the following one. So ideally it contains like before insert. Event type is equal to before insert or after insert. So all we have are enum variables. Enum variables in the sense you have like a before insert. If event type is before insert, then this will be true. Clear? Event type is the enum type of before insert. The same way you can use. Now, till now what we are doing, we used to write a code in trigger side, isn't it? I mean, we used to write like if trigger.e is insert and trigger.e is after, then we'll be writing a method. Now, what we'll be doing, we'll not be doing that anymore. The easy way that what we'll be doing here, dot flow trigger dot new map trigger dot old map, and here we have a trigger dot trigger operation, trigger dot operation type. So we have a concept called trigger dot new map old map trigger dot operation type. Now it will contain whether it is a before insert or after delete, whatever you can say. The variable name is operation type. The return data type is system dot trigger operation. Clear? Any doubt in this? There is a variable of Now what we'll be doing, so for a better practice, what we'll be saying, so for a before insert and all, we don't have a new map and all, right? We'll be having new. So I'll be having new also, and I'll define here list of user new list. So now what happened? Now I got my trigger dot operation type and everything. So instead of I make my methods public, now from this time I'll say my method private before insert. Otherwise I'll say after update operations. What is after update? I'll say private. Now your methods is more secure, isn't it? They cannot be invoked other than the trigger methods, right? Private static. Other I can say private void, and I'll say after update. In after update, what kind of data you need? So ideally, you don't want to worry about anywhere like method parameters and all. What we can do here, list of user. I'm just upskilling our skills, okay? It's not something like we are using every day. Till now we are using, but now I am upskilling our concepts. Clear? Semicolon. Now what we'll be doing? I'll be assigning this data. This dot new list equal to new list. Can I use this keyword inside non-static? I can't use, right? Let me make this as a static method, new list. This dot new map equal to new map. I can't use this keyword inside a static methods, okay? That's a rule. Old map, semicolon. Now here you'll say new is what you can say. Now what we can do here, because we have a trigger event type, right? We have event type. So now instead of writing a event type, you can write a switch case. Now what is switch case? How to write? Switch. Here you need to write your on, when, on, trigger event, and when you need to do after update, right? What else in the, when else in the sense, this is a false condition. You can write the same way for after update. The same way you can do like after insert, after delete, after update, after insert. The same way you can say after delete, and you can also say that in a condition called default. Default correct only, right? Okay, okay, okay. Now I'll say when else. Imagine this way. If I pass my event type equal to null, what is the final outcome from this method is written null, right? Now method is tightly coupled, isn't it? You cannot able to invoke this method other than the trigger, right? Right, whatever I write a method, it will be in the private mode. If it is in private mode, Yes, you have to do everything from trigger. This cannot be invoked in a way that you are securing your methods with a tight block. Because trigger operation, you can't, this variable is not editable by user. This is a system context variable. Okay. If this is a system context variable or a trigger context variable, you cannot able to override this value. It will be auto assigned by a system only. Clear? Now, we don't need everything here. In our condition, what we need, we only need till after update, right? We need till after update. So what I can do here, this dot after update, I'm calling this method, right? This is what I'm just calling this method. That's it. How can I get my data here? My data is anyway is in a global values. If it is a global value, I can able to access within the same execution, isn't it? Now, here what I can do, now what I need to extract, I need to extract my contact IDs, right? The pseudocode is that get contact IDs when there is a change in first name or last name in user record, right? And the second one, get related contacts in map of ID comma contact to update based on the contact IDs retrieved from the trigger context, right? And then perform dim and contact object to update the latest or changed first name and last name from user object, right? These are the three things that we need to perform, isn't it? So now how to extract the data? To extract, first we need to have a set of ID, contact IDs equal to new set of ID, and here you will be writing for block, right? For, and type is user and variable name is record, and list, here I can say new map dot values, because this is a global variable, isn't it? So if I'm calling this method, that means that I have my global data in the same transaction, so I can able to access, right? Now what we can do, now I need to get my user, old record equal to old map dot get off. What is the key here? Record dot ID, right? Now I need to check. First, what I need to check, how to write? Boolean is partner user. How to check whether it is a partner user or not? All you need to say record dot contact ID not equal to null, then it is true, right? Normal users, they don't have a contact, isn't it? For a system administrator, they don't have a contact object, right? In the user detail pages, there is no contact field for a user, I mean standard normal users, internal users. For a partner users, you have a contact ID in a user object. So contact ID not null. Then what we need to check? We need to check Boolean is first name changed equal to record dot first name not equal to old record dot first name, and I'll say true, else false. The same thing what we need to do, boolean is last name change record dot last name not equal to old record dot last name. Then I'll say it is true and mean it change, else I'll say false. Okay. One finally, boolean is change is valid change. What I'll say, simple thing, or last name. If these two are changed, I'll return is partner. Else I'll say false. Right? Simple thing, isn't it? And then what I can say, if what is the condition here is valid change, right? Is valid change. If it is a valid change, then what should I do now? I need to get my contacts. Contacts dot add record dot contact ID. Record dot contact ID. Clear? Any doubt till here? Is there any doubt? See, you can also ask me that can I able to write this if condition right? You can write no matter what. You can write it. But what I'm doing, I'm just ensuring that my variables are defined. That's it. Okay. So that my if statement looks small and I can segregate my information parallelly with step by step. I mean decryption type of thing. Clear? Just to make some cleanliness inside a code reading habits. That's it. It's not something like this is the only way that we need to write. You can write your saying that record dot contact ID not equal to null and open bracket, close bracket, this or this. You can put that way also. Record dot ID. Record you are passing record ID as a record ID means user ID, right? So that is a key. In map, how to get a user, related user, all you need to pass a key. The key is ID, right? Yes. In trigger we have old map, right? In old map, what is the both are related to same user ID. Record IDs will never change. They remain same even for old or new. What is the related user that I can get based on my ID? So I'm passing my ID, I'm getting my user record value. Contact IDs. So how can I ensure that we have valid contact IDs? It's very simple thing that you can do is that contact IDs dot size greater than 0. And what you can do, map of ID comma contact, right? Map of ID comma contact, new map of ID comma contact. So what you need to do here, select ID comma last name comma first name from contact where ID in colon contact ID. So I got my query up. So what I'm doing, I'm querying my contacts based on my contact IDs that I extracted from user variable, right? Then what is the next one? Now I need to perform an operation. Update first name and last name based on the user object information. How can I get that? How can I get that? So is there any relationship between now map, this contact map and this user? Is there any relationship? No, right? User will have a user ID. Contact have contact ID. How can I ensure that my contacts and users are same? Again, yesterday's concepts. One contact will have only one user. They will not be having any duplicate users. Clear that point? The rule. So instead of map, I'll say map of ID comma user. This time I'll say put record.contact ID comma record. So what I'm mapping? I'm mapping contact ID with a user record, isn't it? Contact ID users. Now what I'll do? Here I'll say dot key set. Clear? Now I have here ID and here I have ID, isn't it? And then what I can do? I'll say for what is the variable name here is that contact and I'll say record and I'll say contact map dot values. Now what I'll do? I need to get my user right. U record equal how to get my U record? Contacts contact ID users contact ID users dot get off. I need to pass key. What is the key here? Record dot ID, right? This is the record, right? Contact ID, isn't it? Then I'll say record dot first name equal to U record dot first name and then record dot last name equal to U record dot last name. Then do I need to update anything here? Do you think that do I need to update anything? Because this is by pass by reference, isn't it? For the same memory object, I'm just overriding values. Do I need to add another collection here? Ideally, we don't need to do that, isn't it? Because you are anyway updating to these values only. So all you can do is DML operation there. Let's say update contact map dot values. Update contact map dot values. Now we are trying to update that values. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. Yep. No. Trigger will maintain what has been changed and the context data parallelly until the transaction finishes. Trigger will maintain. Let's say if I'm here, if I go to my account or something, like let me go to my account. Yeah, I understand your question. I understand your question. Now, if I am here, you remember while writing validation rule, there is a value called prior value. Now, if I say, because this is a new, let me say para, if I edit now, if I edit this account, now what is the world data? Whatever world data is there, which is like a read only of your details without editing. If I say parag 1, trigger.world will contain parag, trigger.new contain parag 1. Understood. Like whatever you are seeing, whatever before you do any changes, whatever you are seeing in trigger.new here, whatever you are seeing in trigger.new here, this will be in trigger.world. Okay. Whatever details you are seeing, this will be in trigger.world. If I edit and if I change anything, then it will say trigger.new. Whatever you are editing and saving, even if you don't change also, if you say now trigger.new will contain parag, trigger.world contain parag only. If you change trigger.new world contain parag, trigger.new contain parag 1. Clear? Because then only you can able to say, right, the record is actually modified. Otherwise, you will not able to say that is modified or not. So for the entire transaction, whatever the record you are seeing now, this is called trigger.world. If I edit and save, then this is called trigger.new. So you have both old data and new data. Clear? If I say here, you have a approval history, the same way you have change history. Anyway, that is not added to a related list. So it works, right? It have both data. Whatever the read-only data, trigger.world map is a read-only data. You can't modify it. This is a read-only. Trigger.new is something that you can able to override in before insert, but after, I mean, before update, after update, you can't do that. Anyway, that is also become read-only. You can't identify that. We need to remember that's it. So it will not mention like read only or write only, but all you need to remember, that's it. Now, the other thing is that, okay, 1 minute. After update, we did everything. Now, what we do, we just try to update the record, okay? So let me open my users. I need to go, right? This is yesterday's record, Lakshmi Deepak, right? Contact. This is the contact we were using, right? For external user, you can see this is an external user, isn't it? Partner user. Now, if I go here, user, users, 1 minute, what method used after update? Trigger.flow. Yeah, that works. Now trigger code has been minimized too much, right? So you don't have any issue with trigger anymore, right? That's an interesting thing. So, and one more thing, switch statements is not available in Salesforce from day one. It was released recently, okay? Before it was not available. Switch was introduced very recently, like it's like last year somewhere, last to last year somewhere. That's it. Very recent future within 2 years, I think. Before and all, we don't have a this one. This one I need to open. Now, if I modify anything here, it should reflect in this contact object. That's the expectation, right? So I'm editing and I'm hoping. Now you remembered you are doing a DML operations on two different objects, setup objects and non-setup objects, right? Now here also it got updated, isn't it? Right? When this error will come, when this error will comes, let me go to users. I'll open this record. Okay. Oh, this is system administrator. Okay. No, no. Yeah, it's reflected. I'll show you one error. Okay. I'll show you one error and we'll also see that error if you do a DML on both operations same time. Control E. I'll say user u equal to select ID, comma, first name from user where email equal to this one. Okay. And because this is not an indexer field, you have to put limits also. And I'll say contact con equal to new contact id colon, I'll say comma contact id, I'll say u dot contact id. This is same, yeah, yeah, same as I say equal to in outside, it's same thing. Okay, I'm just placing here and I'll say update con and I'll say update u. In user object I never modify anything, isn't it? Update, 1 minute, let me do. Which one? Here. Space is okay. Okay. This is same as that. Now if I update, what you are getting? No such column entity on from user. There is no such field called email. Seriously? 1 minute. Select first name, comma last name, contact from user where email equal to, right? What is the error it is saying? Spelling mistake. It executed, right? Interestingly. Now what I'll do, I'll say this way. I'm just altering. Execute. What the hell is this? Debug only. Update. C1 dot last name equal to rest. Execute. So actually we should get a mixed email error. Okay. Sample code for mixed email. This is interesting. I'm not able to get my, okay. So generally, right, if you do like a DML operation between account and users together, we'll get enter into a mixed DML errors. Okay. Mixed DML in the sense you can't perform DML operations on both user and setup and non-setup objects. In this case, I don't know. We should get the error for now. Anyway, you understood this trigger, right? I'll get you a sample code. What is the error code? I don't know. Like whatever I'm writing, it is working fine, but I need to figure it out. What is error code? I mean, how to write a error code. So error, I wanted to show some errors. So, but I'm not able to produce that error. So whatever I'm writing, it is taking like right. So now you understood this trigger concept, isn't it? So in trigger level, we are not writing much if condition. We are writing only one statement, right? If you open my earlier trigger, if I open my earlier triggers like contact trigger or operation trigger, whatever like contact trigger, so we had like a different easy if, and there are too many leaves. If I go to my account, so you can see there are too many statements we written, isn't it? But now, because of the new implementation, the what we followed, we eliminated at least a trigger code, and we are using like a simple statement here. Might be this looks very big, but at least you will not able to touch triggers, right? You don't want to touch triggers always. You can control. Now, earlier all methods are public because you wanted to expose your methods as a trigger context methods, right? Now your methods are private. These methods cannot be invoked by any other places. These are strictly written to Apex classes. The becomes we are using trigger dot operation type. If this is if trigger dot operation type, we are using trigger dot operation. This variable is not is something else. You can't able to update this value any part of the system. It only updated by trigger. Now this variable if you are using, so even if you call this method, all will be doing this method data and this method data, and you have to pass null. As soon as you pass null, it will go to the else statement, it returns backs. So there is no point in escape entering into the other methods, whatever the trigger logic, isn't it? This is called strict programming. When I say strict programming, users will not be able to expose any of his methods or they will not able to access to anything. Clear? And whenever you follow trigger writing, please follow the practice whatever we did it for user trigger. See, earlier I understand that I discussed with the trigger that is insert is after because that is a old trend standard model that we followed till now. But because of the new operation type is available from a Salesforce side, which is trigger dot operation type, then we can use a switch statement and we can control the flow within the Apex classes. Clear? Yeah, whenever you are practicing, whenever you do anything, try to use this concept.